Yo. We're back with another trade recap. I took 3 trades today, and they both were in the money. The only reason I ended up taking 3 trades is because the first two I ended up getting out due to price action being choppy, and I didn't want to stay in there. So I recognized it and just took the profits when I could. So it's basically a break even in my head. Even though I got a little money out of it, it was basically a break even trade for me. And it's not like I was satisfied with that, but I just wanted to see the actual move take place, and that's why I took 3 trades for 1,500. And yeah, I mean, my bias going into today's market was pretty bullish. We have um this 4 hour gap that we were testing into, and which was going to close at 7. So I knew we were going to come high and respect that gap. So that was my overall confluences. I was looking for longs all day, and on the 1 hour, we also had these small little gaps. These gaps that we've been respecting if we didn't end up coming lower, but we didn't need to. You know what I mean? And on the 1 hour, I just marked out my liquidity. I marked out things that I wanted to see. We had this big gap here on the 4 hour that I wanted to come. If we did get up there, that would be my end. But market open was just insanely choppy. I had these confluence. We tapped into this 15-minute, respected this 15-minute, and I was looking for longs at this point. In market open. Where was the market open? Boom. Market open, insanely choppy. I did end up taking a pre-market trade as I saw a pretty good confluence. We've been respecting this gap, and we've been respecting these 1 minute gaps coming in. So I was like, you know what? I might just catch the wave. Not the wave, but I know it's pretty bad to say as a trader, but I saw strong confluences. We're typing into this 4 hour gap, respecting it, tapping into this 15-minute, respecting it. So I was like, I'm gonna see if I could get the quick move, and end the day like that. And market open came up higher, insanely choppy, as I was in the money for a little bit. Obviously, we had these 15-minute gaps on the higher time frame, causing us to come back lower, and overall, I was like, I'm not gonna stay in here. Market is not moving at all. It is staying in the same place. I don't want to be in here. So as soon as I entered the trade, market open, I thought it was gonna start bouncing up and down. And, I'd rather get stopped out than see this. You know what I mean? But probably not. But yeah. I mean, I took some profits here as price was not moving, coming up and down. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be in here. So once the price came in the money, I ended up getting out here. I was like, F it. It's a break even trade, and my stop was at this 2 to 5 minute gap. 2 to 5 minute gap here, because it was a long way up there. Might catch this, come back lower and come up, but that's not what we did, as price was just insanely choppy this morning, and I'm glad to walk away with a little bit of cash. This was, like 200 here. I was like, okay. I mean, in my head, I was basically a break even, and I was like, okay, if it's not taking up these gaps here, we're gonna see a manipulation. And it's exactly what we did. It came back, reswept these lows, and came up, had this gap here, and we ended up inversing this 1 minute gap, 1 to 2 minute gap. I was like, okay, it's a perfect entry in my eyes. And yeah, I mean, we ended up inversing, entered here, was looking for the same, part of pool of liquidity, which was the 5 minute again, or the 15 minute. Sorry. Consequent encroachment on this 15 minute, in order for the reversal, or just, I don't know, that's what I was looking for. And we did not end up seeing that happen, as I was like, I'm in this trade for 10 minutes already. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in here no more. So I waited for price to come up here, ended up taking profits out here. I'm glad we ended up doing that. I mean, I still would have been in the money, but there was no entry for me. I wouldn't know why this ended up going up. So I'm glad I got out where I did, and this trade here that was basically the move for today. We had this small leg down, leg up. This is a call out from a friend here. As we had this OTE range. We had this OTE on this move. We had a couple confluences. We had these gaps. So I was like, okay, on my thing. I just had my limit order here for 3 contracts. I put in for 3 contracts, and once I saw this candle here, I was like, okay, we might be bullish. So I added 3 more contracts for 6 contracts in total, and yeah, I mean, look at the perfect move. And I'm glad I was able to cash that thanks to a call out that somebody had, a good friend of mine, and pretty grateful for this. We tapped back into this 15-minute gap, and yeah, I mean, we tapped back into this 1 minute in the OTE range. Great move for a win. These were like 500 in total, or like less than 500, and this one was a dub for 1100. I also did take a trade on Asia. It was similar to one of these, as prices just been so insanely choppy, man. And I guess I just gotta know when to get out, and that's what I did with these. And I'm glad I took these, and I learned from yesterday and the days before. That I had great confidence that price was gonna go up, respecting these gaps, inversing these gaps. Okay, but price is just insanely choppy. And yesterday I was up around 700. And there was a big pool of liquidity here, like a 15-minute gap or 5 to 15-minute gap, causing us to go lower. And we just stayed mitigating in that area, and ended up coming back lower and stopping me out break even. No, actually not break even. I ended up getting stopped out as I didn't move my stop loss to break even at all, because I didn't see my internal highs get taken for break even. So I was like, I'm not gonna go break even too early. But price in Asia session is just so choppy. So yeah, I mean, I was up around 700 last night. Came back getting stopped out for like 300 to 400, like 350. And I'm not mad about that, as I saw my confidence is going up. Perfect, but I also need to recognize my confidence is that price when it comes down, and get out when I need to. So, a bunch of lessons learned in the span of 24 hours from yesterday and today. And I'm just beyond blessed and grateful that I'm able to catch these three trades for green, and being able to make almost the max amount on Top Step on the Cloud Mines. We're about 1,300 away from a past account, my first ever past account. Yeah, great, amazing Friday. I hope you guys have a great, amazing rest of your weekend. We got UFC tomorrow. Who y'all got? Let me know. But yeah, God bless everybody.